Hi, I'm Laura. Welcome to my homestead kitchen. I have a really busy season coming up. Spring is coming, and that means garden season's coming. And so I want to do some meal prepping so that on these really busy days, I have some easy go-to meals that I can turn to. So I'm going to show you today how I'm going to do that, prepping some freshly milled flour pizzas. I'm going to be able to stick them in the freezer, pull them out to cook when we need a quick and easy meal, and I know it's going to be super healthy and delicious for my family. So getting started making these freshly milled flour pizzas. Freshly milled flour behaves a bit differently than regular flour, so you need specific recipes to use freshly milled flour for those doughs. If you have a regular pizza dough recipe with white flour that you like, just follow that dough recipe and then follow the steps to cook it and freeze it. You could use the same technique for that, just with your regular dough recipe that you like for pizza. But I'll show you how I make my freshly milled flour pizza dough. If you are into freshly milled flour, you can use that instead. If you're not into freshly milled flour, just skip ahead to when I'm done making the dough. You can see how I assemble the pizzas. Okay, so we're gonna get started with our dough. The first thing you're gonna do is measure out 1,260 grams of hard wheat. You can do hard white or hard red wheat. So we're gonna measure that on our kitchen scale. I am gonna be doubling this recipe so that I can make a lot of freezer pizzas, plus have pizza for supper tonight. It's Friday night, pizza night. So I'm aiming to get 6 pizzas for the freezer. These are gonna be a bit smaller, and then one really big pizza for supper tonight for everyone. Okay, so 1,260 grams of hard red wheat coming up. So I have my hard wheat in here, and you just kind of slowly pour it in until you get the desired amount. Okay, so we'll mill that in our grain mill. Okay, so now I have my mixer bowl for my KitchenAid mixer, and we're gonna measure out our water. So we're just gonna using lukewarm water. You don't want your water to be too hot or it'll kill your yeast. You want it to just be kind of like a little bit warmer than room temperature. You should be able to put your finger in it and it feels a little warm, not hot. So we're gonna measure out 950 grams of water. Okay, so we're gonna use olive oil. You could use a different type of oil, whatever you got. Olive oil is really good for you, so we're just gonna use that. And we're using 16 grams. Okay. Next, we're gonna use 60 grams of honey. Okay, so now we're gonna add the flour to this, and then we're gonna mix the dough. We're gonna auto-lyse it, which means we're just mixing our liquids with our flour so that it can set and the bran and the germ can absorb the moisture before we knead it. If you don't do this, your bran and germ will kind of act like shards and cut the flour and cut the strands of gluten, and your gluten won't develop properly. So what we're doing is called autolyse. We'll let this sit for 20 minutes to half an hour, and then we'll add our salt and yeast and then knead it. So in here, I have milled my double amount. So if it looks like a lot, that's why. But we're just gonna add half of it. So I'm just gonna measure out approximately half of this, put it into our water, and then I'll use the other half for my doubled recipe. Okay, that looks like about half. We'll just set it to 1 so that it can absorb the flour, and we'll let it sit. So that's absorbed. So we're just gonna leave this for 20 minutes and we'll come back to it and add our salt and our yeast. Okay, so now that that has auto-leesed, let's add in 1 tablespoon of yeast. And we're gonna add in 1 tablespoon of salt. So you can see now that we've let that sit for 20 minutes to half an hour, the gluten is starting to develop so easily. It's starting to be sticky and hold together nice. It doesn't look all shaggy anymore. It looks kind of stretchy and smooth and shiny. That's exactly why we let it sit for that full 20 minutes to half an hour. You could even go a bit longer than that. I would not go less than 20 minutes. So let's just mix in that yeast and that salt, and then we'll let it rise. So remember, I have a double recipe in here, so that's why it looks a bit bigger than what yours might look like. We're gonna need this for about 10 minutes. We want that gluten to get really developed and really stretchy so that we get a nice dough. Okay, so now that this has been kneading for 10 minutes, I'll show you what it looks like and then we can shut it off. So you can see how nice and stretchy this is. It's nice and soft and smooth. It's a little bit sticky still. That's okay. That's good. We don't want our dough to be too dry. So we can take this off and we can let it rise. So I'm just gonna use some olive oil so that it's not going to stick to anything, including my hands. So olive oil isn't gonna make much difference in the dough. It's just gonna make it so that it's easier to work with. This is definitely a good amount of dough. I think we definitely might have more than 6 pizzas. We might have to like double that. You'll have 6 pizzas. I'll have maybe 12, we'll see. Okay, so this dough is gonna go in here and we're gonna let it double in size. So I'm gonna just let mine go. My container's not quite big enough, so I'm just gonna let it poof out and then I'll show you what to do next. This might take about half an hour, 45 minutes. It'll depend on how warm your house is. So if you don't wanna make this pizza today, if you wanna make this dough a day ahead and then prepare your pizzas the next day, I know it's like a lot to do in one day, but say you prepped everything the day before, you could prep your cheese and your meats and everything like that and prep this dough, stick it in the fridge, and then pull it out tomorrow when you have time to get everything ready. It doesn't have to be done all in one day. You can do this in steps. So you would put this in the fridge now if you wanted to make these pizzas tomorrow. But I will just let it rise here on the counter where it's warm and it'll be ready in about half an hour or so. I guess I'm gonna put this lid loose because I want this to rise above this so that it's double. We can get our sauce ready in the meantime while this is rising and some other ingredients prepped as well. Okay, so let's prep some pizza sauce. I'm gonna make my own pizza sauce. You can buy some if you want, but it's really easy to make. Just make it yourself, it's super easy. I'm gonna use one of these cans of Primo, thick and zesty like pasta sauce. And I'm also gonna use a jar of my red pepper sauce. It's a sweet and spicy pepper sauce. I show you how to make this on my channel, so I'll leave a link up here and also in the description. If you want to check that out later, you can. It's a super good sauce, great for pasta dishes or things like this, or even just as a dip. So I'm gonna mix these two things together and add some Italian seasoning, and we'll give it a taste and see what it tastes like. Pepper sauce. It's kind of a nice chunky sweet sauce. And then this is the tomato sauce. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of basil to this and a tablespoon of oregano. So I'm gonna give that a stir and then we are going to taste it. See if we wanna add anything else. Okay, so that's our sauce. Let's give it a taste. I'd say it's perfect. Nice and sweet. can taste those Italian spices. Super good. I'm not gonna add anything else. That's all we need. Okay, so my dough is definitely ready for me. So I'm just going to separate this out. I want to get probably 12 pizzas from this. So we'll see what that looks like. I know about what size I need. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this in 3 sections. Yeah. Remember, you are just going to get 6 out of this. Try to get them just as even as possible, but we're not aiming for perfection here. Okay, so this is about the size that we're looking for. So I'll just weigh this. So it's just shy of 400 grams. I'm just shaping these out a little bit, and then we'll start putting them onto pans.
Yeah, please. 1, 2.
Okay, so I have my big pan. This is what I'm just using for supper. So I'm just spreading some olive oil out on here so that it doesn't stick. And I'm gonna grab the 2 biggest dough balls that I have. I'm just gonna spread this out as best I can. So that one's ready, so we'll let that rise while we work on our freezer pizzas. So those are for supper, these are for freezer. Okay, so for our freezer pizza, this is what I'm gonna be storing it in, just a large Ziploc bag. It's the biggest bag I have. If I had something else, I might switch to something else at a later date, but for now, that's what I'm using. And so we have our baking tray and a piece of parchment paper so it doesn't stick. So we're just gonna grab our dough and we're gonna make it more oval shaped than we are gonna make it circular because we need it to fit in there. So I'm just gonna keep this here with me and I'm gonna be keeping my eye on how big this pizza is gonna be so that it fits properly in the bag when we freeze it. Okay. So now we're just gonna let that rise a little bit. I'm gonna work on the rest of these and then we can start baking them. Okay, so I'm gonna prep the pizzas now. So our freezer pizzas, we need to bake them before we put any toppings on. So I'll show you that. But in the meantime, I'm going to prep the ones that we're eating tonight. These ones I'm not gonna bake first. We're gonna bake them with the toppings on all together. So I'm just gonna put a generous amount of sauce.
Well, I figured this got moved. I don't want to wait bulldogs.
In here I have some turkey bacon that I had and some ground meat.
No.
This is just some green pepper. Okay, and then this is mozzarella cheese that I've grated. And to get it to not stick together, I just put some flour and then mix it around so that it wouldn't stick together in like a big clump. And I use my food processor to grate this. I like to put the pepperoni on last so that it gets a little bit crispy. Okay, and our last ingredient is just some diced pineapple. Leave me a comment in the comments. Do you like pineapple on your pizza or not? Okay, so there's one of the pizzas for tonight. So all of our freezer pizzas are just here rising. We're gonna let them rise for about 15 to 20 minutes. Dylan's chopping our pineapple. And then while these are rising, our pizzas for tonight are also rising. So we want them to be poofed up a bit. We don't want them to be super flat. We want a nice fluffy crust. So our oven has preheated. I have it at 450 and I'm gonna start baking these crusts now. So they've poofed up a bit and they'll poof up more in the oven, especially because there's no toppings on them weighing them down. So I can fit 2 pans in my oven at once. So I'm gonna cook 2 at once and we're only gonna cook them for 5 minutes. We will continue cooking them when they come out of the freezer when we're ready to cook them on a different day. So 5 minutes, in an oven preheated at 450. So after they're cooked, we can start putting toppings on, but only when they've cooled down. Otherwise our toppings will melt on us, and we're not ready for that to happen until we cook them on the day that we want to eat them. It's getting a little crazy in the house now. The kids are all inside and super excited that we're having pizza. So they're like running around like, when's the pizza ready? When's the pizza ready? So. Okay, I cooked this for 7 minutes. I just felt like it needed a little bit longer. So when you feel the top, it springs back and doesn't feel squishy like dough anymore. It springs back and feels a little bit hard. Not hard, it feels very soft, but it doesn't feel doughy anymore. So I can take these off the parchment now and put in the next round. Okay, so it's getting pretty close to supper time now. So I'm going to start baking our pizzas for tonight, because they're gonna take a bit longer. It won't just be our 7 minutes. It's probably gonna be around 20 minutes for these guys to cook, because the toppings are on there and we're cooking the dough fully. So I'm gonna put both pizzas in and then I'll just swap them at about 10 minutes.
Nice. Yeah. So you spend some time here because of your buddy? Dale, too. It was nothing compared to...
Good morning. So my day yesterday got totally crazy. So I didn't end up finishing my freezer pizzas. We ate our pizza that I cooked last night, and I just put all of these freezer pizza crusts into the Ziploc bags, and I was like, I am going to deal with that tomorrow. I could not do that last night. So I'm going to take these out, get all of our toppings on, and then stick them in the freezer. So really the easiest part is going to be doing this. So we'll just get that done real quick and I'll show you how to do it. And hopefully my helper, Baby Jack, doesn't make too much of a fuss for me and I can just get this done this morning. Okay, so I'm just gonna take out each one. I was thinking I was gonna take them all out and just top them all at once. It would probably be a bit faster to do it that way, but I really don't think I'm gonna have enough ingredients for all of these crusts. So I'm just gonna do one at a time till I run out of my topping ingredients. And then if I have extra crusts after that, I'll just freeze them as a crust, and then I can just top it maybe with even a different style of pizza toppings, like a barbecue chicken or something like that. On the day where I would need to make a quick meal, my crust would already be made for these. I was not anticipating yesterday how much the kids were gonna eat of those big pizzas I made. They ate so much. We finished those 2 big pizzas, plus one of these small ones. It was all gone. My 10-year-old Dylan, he ate 5 pieces, 5 slices of pizza. I could not believe it. And my 6-year-old ate 4 slices. That was more than like what the adults ate. Yeah, so crazy. Those boys are gonna eat me out of my house when they're teenagers. Crazy. Okay, so this is topped. You see that? I'm just gonna carefully put it into this bag and then put it into the freezer. It's kind of difficult. You have to be careful because the toppings obviously are not set onto there. But the crust is kind of stiff enough. It doesn't fold over on me, so it's okay. I can just put it in. Okay. So that's what we'll take out to cook on a different day when we are ready for a quick meal. We'll just take this out of the freezer and put it in the oven. So I'm gonna get all the rest of these topped and put these into the freezer, and I will come back on a different day when I'm gonna cook these from frozen and show you exactly how to do that and what it looks like when we cook them from frozen. So we'll see you soon. Hi guys, so I have lots going on today. It's a busy day. It's 4:30 and I'm trying to get supper ready for 5. So I thought I would just pull out some of our freezer pizzas and cook them up for supper and show you how I do that. So they're completely frozen. I just grabbed them from the freezer I'm gonna cook 3 for us and probably have some salad too. So I'm just gonna put them on these baking trays, and I preheated the oven to 350. Okay. I ended up getting 6 of these pizzas in the freezer and then 4 crusts that have nothing on them that I'll just be able to put whatever on them. So that's what that looks like. Looks great. And we're gonna put them right into the oven at 350 and cook them for about 25 minutes. And I'll check them then and show you what that looks like. So these were in the oven for 25 minutes, and then I put them to broil for just a few minutes each. And they're done. So we have yummy pizza for supper, and it's all ready to go. So I'll cut these guys up and show you what that looks like, and definitely have a bite. My trusty taste tester is here. Yay. So we're just gonna try this pizza.
Which one? Doesn't matter?
They're the same.
Oh.
It looks so good. See that? Yum.
Yep.
That's good. Can you
That's
tell
good.
it's from the freezer?
This was in the freezer?
Yeah, I froze it.
Nope. Really?
It tastes fresh.
Yep.
Nice. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And keep your eye out for my next video coming up. I am teaching you how to render pork lard. And we're making some freshly milled flour donuts. It's going to be awesome. Keep your eye out for that. And we'll see you again real soon.
Say amen, amen, amen.